Good morning. It's Renee here, your Soul Purpose Success Mentor. We're talking today about the how. How, the big how that hangs over us, some of us like, a rain cloud, right? Whenever you get a God breadcrumb, your next step, whenever spirit seeds, within you, your potential. Maybe that's speaking on a big stage. Maybe it's writing a book. Maybe it's leading your first retreat, whatever that is. Or maybe it's, hey, spirit telling you, hey, look, you got to leave your 9-to-5 job and go line up with your soul's purpose, like get to work. Whatever it is for you, there's always going to be some kind of fear whenever you're being nudged to step into expansion, right? Whenever you're being nudged to really grow yourself and grow your business, there's always going to be this little fear. And the little nagging voice inside that's scared is going to say, but how? Like, how am I going to make that work? How will I replace my income, with my sacred business? How, will I get people to fly across the country to meet me for my retreat? How? And I want to let you know that the how can only come to your consciousness after the yes. So you've got to choose it, you've got to say yes to it, and then take the action towards it. And then the how will start to reveal itself, okay? So I've followed my God breadcrumbs my whole life, really, but the biggest God breadcrumbs that relate to this conversation around business was certainly when I left my database, my lucrative 6-figure database consulting business, to step with both feet into my brand new sacred business. This was for 2014. And so that was really scary, and I had to let go of the how, right? Because I still wanted to know like a 20-step roadmap. Show me how, then I'll say yes. That's so many of us, right? Because it's scary. And on top of that, some of us are control freaks, right? I totally get that. That was me. And so I wanted the how. I wanted the lay of the land. I wanted to know what I was walking into before I said the yes. But it doesn't work that way. And I got that early on. And so I, jumped in with both feet in full faith. You've got to have faith, because God will never ever give you more than the very next step. And that's why I call it God breadcrumbs. The next step is the God breadcrumb. You pick up the breadcrumb, you move on. You'll find another breadcrumb. You pick that up and you move on. God will never show you, hey, your breadcrumbs will lead you here. And then when you get to about here, make a 90-degree turn. Right? It doesn't work that way. You've got to say yes and take the action in order for the rest, in order for the how to be revealed. So I'm in another pivot year, right? So 2014 was when I left my database consulting business to go all in with this business. Then in 2016, around summer solstice, I got another intuitive hit, asked to pivot a little bit. It was a slight pivot. And I'm being asked to do another pivot here in 2019. And so it's always scary whenever spirit is asking you to change direction, right? It's scary. And I've been as transparent as I can be, as much as I can articulate what I'm going through. I'm transparent with that. So in January, I got this intuitive hit and some clarity reflected back to me. And it also connected with a couple of God breadcrumbs that started in October of 2018. So it all kind of made sense. So when it came in full form in January, it was like, yes, of course, that feels right. And so it was a slight change in direction. But I wrote a post about this earlier. I was confronted because it was asking me to talk about and face and own this thing that I've been running away from, which is this thing called duty. Duty as an Asian eldest child, duty as a daughter, this cultural thing called duty that I've been running away from. So my past journey, which again, I've been transparent about, I am now being nudged to share it from a new lens. From this lens of cultural wound and ancestral wound, which is really interesting. But it was confronting back in January for sure, because I also made it this big thing in my head that it meant that my audience was going to change to just all Asian American. And at some point I'm going to talk about that, because that is my next level of healing, because I'm not first generation and I'm not second generation. I'm a 1.5 generation, and we are the hyphenated identity people. Asian American. We're neither Asian nor American. Because the people who are born here, and many of them are called ABCs, American born Chinese, they're born here, they're American. And the people who, like my mother, are born in, you know, Burma, they're Burmese, first and foremost. Me, my husband, and a bunch of, you know, my friends growing up were the hyphenated identity. We live within the freaking hyphen. And so I freed myself from this thing called duty. Years ago, I freed myself, just a couple of years ago, coming to the mountains, I freed myself from cultural and religious limitations, right? Like I wrote a post about that too, going beyond Buddhism and really stepping into this new expanded spirituality, which helped me to be where I am today. I could not be where I am today. I could not even, I don't even know if I would, well, I probably would have seen the God breadcrumbs, but I wouldn't have called it that. I wouldn't have understood the word surrender the way that I do if I didn't leave the box of religion. Anyway, it, you know, it helped me find my purpose, all of that good stuff. My life opened up and completely changed when I went beyond Buddhism. And so I freed myself from religion. I freed myself from this cultural thing called duty. And now it's time to free myself from the freaking hyphen. And it's something that it's a very internal, conflicting thing that that was draining when I was looking at identity and really trying to figure it out and fight it. In college, during my college days, when I was a big time activist in my early 20s, it was draining, and so I left it. Anyway, that's not what I want to focus on. I'm going to talk more about that for sure, because that's my next level healing as I continue this journey to, like, you know, to understand deeper depths of soul freedom. But it was confronting in January, and so I didn't share it. I couldn't share it because when you're confronted, it's an aspect of your ego that's like, I don't want it. There's an aversion there, right? It's an aspect of your ego going, I don't want it. I don't want to see it. I certainly don't want to speak about it, right? There's this aversion to the thing. Like, I don't want to look at it. And so when you're in this mode of aversion, being confronted, it's a mind fog. I couldn't articulate it. I couldn't get the words out. I couldn't piece, you know, I couldn't put Christopher's death with, I couldn't put it through the eyes of soul freedom. I just couldn't find the words. Like, I knew I had different pieces, and on some overall level, it all made sense to me, but I couldn't piece it all together so I can articulate it to you powerfully. And so I didn't, right? It was a mind fog. So that was most of January, all of February. And then finally, this past weekend, it was just this past weekend that I shared it with you, you know, this whole thing with duty and going beyond Buddhism, right? Like freeing myself from culture, freeing myself from the limitations of religion and culture and tradition. I started to share that just this weekend. Now, here's the most amazing part, and I'm circling back to the how. Once I did that, the mind fog lifted. Once I shared it, and I did get a cold because I wrote it out. I was supposed to share it on Friday, and then I woke up with a cold, and then I couldn't. I basically slept most of Friday. And then I ended up sharing it Saturday because I knew the cold was connected to me sharing. And so, but once I did that, once I pierced, I really see it like piercing the mind fog or a shield, or like popping a bubble, right? Like once I pierced it, the feeling of confronted turned into feeling of excitement. All of a sudden, there was no more fog because I was able to articulate it, and then I shared it, got visible with it. And so now it ushered in, my sharing ushered in a whole new level of excitement and clarity, deeper clarity, and creativity. And so all of a sudden, I can start to see the how, meaning the how, you know, how will I transition from my message of soul purpose success, using the formula, helping people not only with the healing and the mindset, but with the marketing. How do I transition from that, really focused on entrepreneurs, to this new message of just mainly soul freedom? Now, you know, the phrase soul freedom has always been my message since 2017. I'm just asked to share it in a slightly different, from a slightly different lens, and talk about it as my main dish, so to speak, instead of a side dish. back before. For the last couple of years, it's been your business. That's your vehicle to self-mastery, which is all still true. But so I was caught up in like, well, how do I make the transition? But only when I shared it, that's the choosing of it, by the way. It's the choosing. You have to first say yes and choose it in order for the how to show up. So in my sharing my truth, the how started showing up. I got really excited. I'm seeing how I can parallel these two. It's not a business model. How I can play with both right now. My message of, free yourself from limiting culture, tradition, and religion to really step into soul freedom and live the life you want, along with my message around your business as the vehicle for your soul mastery, ascension, and soul purpose success. So things are coming together. I'm not going to share everything right now. I don't need to. It's not going to serve you, so I'm not going to. But I'm really excited. The book doesn't have to come first. I thought my book had to come first, and I'm realizing it really was just me. I was more comfortable writing the book first than really getting out there. And once I started sharing, I swear it's like whoosh, it's like a whole new energy swooping in. It feels really good. Clarity is always amazing, right? So the how gets revealed to you only after the yes, and the yes is a choosing, it's an owning, and then you get visible with it. And, you're so supported. There's no turning back after that. Like spirit will, once the mind fog lifts, like you got what you need to fulfill the next level of your purpose. What's going on with my hair? So I'm happy, boy, I'm happy. It's not my first rodeo, following God breadcrumbs. I've never not followed a God breadcrumb. Certainly in my adult age, I've never not followed a God breadcrumb. Except for once, I can't tell a lie. Except one time, this was maybe 2013 or 2014, I was still teaching a class, teaching like IET. This was IETs. I was teaching Reiki, IET, like in the back of crystal shops and things like that. And so I was renting out, this is not a crystal shop though, I was renting out this little studio place that was ran by this woman who was a voice instructor. So she coached people on how to sing and play piano. So I rented out her studio, and one of her students came in for a class. And I remember, while I was attuning her to IET, integrated energy therapy, it's just another healing modality. When I was attuning her, she was a teenager. And I had known before she came in that she had a really high level anxiety disorder. And I was attuning her. I swear to God, it was like, I'm attuning her, but my crown felt like there was a waterfall. I mean, it was so heavy. Like I felt like I could have been flattened to the floor during her attunement. It was so heavy on my crown. And then I started channeling, I don't remember who it was. I started channeling one of her spirit guides or God or whoever it was. Didn't make themselves known. My voice changed and I started channeling, but I was conscious of it because really she wasn't supposed to have this disorder. There was something went awry, and they needed her back in alignment. And Spirit told me to give her. She was a lovely teenager. She was lovely. To give her my crystal, my celestite, but I had just gotten it. It's this raw celestite. It was pretty big. It cost me $50. Back then, it was a lot for me for a crystal, right? I've spent more on crystals now, but back then it was a lot. It was $50. Excuse me. Raw celestite. I'm still getting over my cold. And I loved it. I had just gotten it. I loved it. But Spirit's like, give it to her. And I'm attuning her. Her eyes are closed. And I'm having this internal dialogue, literally fighting with Spirit, going, but I love it. And I just got it. I don't want to give it to her. You guys, that was my only God breadcrumb that I can remember that I did not follow. I did not give it to her. I just got it. I loved it. Don't judge. So anyways, I didn't give it to her. A month later, I get a call from the owner of the voice studio. And she calls me and she says, look, Renee, I'm calling you because the girl's name was Savannah. She said, look, I know you know Savannah. I know Savannah is also thinking about taking more classes with you. And I know you offer your classes sometimes in your home where you have little children. So I have to tell you this. She said, Savannah had, a crazy episode recently. And she was all in a rage. And, I don't know, she and her family came down and said something or other. And I don't know, they were just like raging against this woman, the owner, and her studio for some reason, and she had to call the cops on her. And she was just like, I really think it's just her anxiety disorder getting the best of her, and some crazy stuff like that, whatever. I felt really bad because I feel like she wouldn't have had this particular breakdown, if I had given her the damn crystal. So my bad, I regret that. I have never not followed a God breadcrumb except for that one guidance in 2014. I don't know. I mean, who knows, right? If I had given her the crystal, gosh, I don't know what that would have done, changed in this realm and other realms. I don't know. But that's why I follow my God breadcrumbs, right? So anywho, I went off on a tangent there, but it's all about the how. The how gets revealed to you after the yes, and you're choosing it, you owning it, and then getting visible with it, or just starting to take action towards that, whatever that next step is for you. So I will continue to be, to share. I'll continue to share as things develop for me. And that's it. Like, I feel good. I'm happy. I'm really clear. I'm so excited to talk more about this. And you'll notice that a couple of weeks ago, I did a video about my grandmother, right? The World War II stories and the faith muscle. That felt really, really good to share. I had never shared, I learned so much from my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, who is the wife of the shaman grandfather. I learned so much from her. She built my spiritual foundation. And I don't really share much of her. I share a lot about my mother and how angry I've been with her over the years. Obviously she and I are transforming that relationship right now. It's really beautiful. It's gone from angry to neutral to love, which is really amazing in a matter of, I think it's been less than 6 months. So that's been amazing. And of course, I'm transparent with that. If you don't know, if you're not up to date, you can go back and read my posts or my videos. But I don't share a lot about my grandmother. And it's interesting that she came up, right? So if I had not done my healing from October to now with my mother, if I had not started to own this slight pivot in my message, if I had not started to own it, like, yes, I am willing to talk about these cultural and ancestral limitations and wounds that I've healed from, if I had not owned it and said yes to that, I don't think I would have had the thought to share my grandmother's stories with you. And when I did, it felt really, really good. So I think you can expect from me more talk about culture, tradition, religion. You can expect more talk on those topics from me. And inevitably, my family will show up, right? If I'm talking about my culture and my tradition and religion. So really, it's interesting. You just gotta keep going, right? Like whatever direction spirit and your soul purpose is bringing you on, it's for your own mastery and healing. It's for your own mastery and healing. And that brings me to another point. And I had this thought yesterday. What if your entire business was not even for others? And because we talk a lot about, hey, my soul's purpose is to create impact in the world. I want to serve. And it's very, again, external, right? Like it's about them, my soul clients and the world and humanity. But what if your business was for you and only you? Because I noticed that, every time I'm asked to pivot, I get tons out of it. It's from my healing. Like it really, like in this particular round, this pivot in 2019, it's really making me face that hyphen, right? I talked about that early in this video. As I talk about cultural wounds, ancestral, and really leaving religion, like it taps on identity. It really taps on identity. And so I freed myself from religion. I freed myself from this cultural thing called duty. And I feel like I'm being ready. I'm ready. I'm asked to, and I'm ready to free myself from this hyphen and free myself from this thing called identity. So it's super interesting. And I love my life. I love my journey. I love my God. I love you guys for being here and witnessing. And really, without you, I wouldn't have these opportunities um, to move on to the next step of my divine blueprint. So thank you. And know that, I will continually hold space for you as you grow your business. And I don't think it'll leave. I don't think me supporting entrepreneurs and light workers in terms of like business and marketing stuff, I don't think it'll leave because I'm good at what I'm good at. I love it. And as I help other women free themselves from limiting culture, limiting tradition, limiting religion, as I help them free themselves from that, ultimately, some of them will line up with their soul's purpose and want to create a business, right? To work their purpose. And so I will probably still have offerings for those people who want to grow their business and who need business coaching. So it feels really good to grow my audience and my business in this way. So just keep following your God breadcrumbs and keep forging ahead to your deeper healing and your deeper mastery and your deeper success. It's a beautiful process. It's a beautiful process. Okay, well, with that, I'm going to let you go. The how comes after the yes. Choose, take action. The mind fog will lift. Creativity and excitement will follow. You're so guided. You're so loved. Just keep moving on. Onward and upward. For those of you that are ready to, I have to say this because I have an event coming up in May, and I want to make sure that you guys all know about it too. So it's called Your Soul's Core Message. May 12th through the 14th. It is a Sunday to Tuesday, as Spirit would have it. We have people who already signed up. We also have people who have already taken up the Bring a Friend bonus tickets. And I have to share this because it's limited. There's 4, and 2 people have already reserved their Bring a Friend bonuses. So there's going to be only 2 left once I get in the payments for that bonus. Okay, I'm only offering that up to people who pay in full for themselves. So only after you pay, then I will invite you to invite a friend for $97 to come to Tarrytown and be with us in the room and discover their soul's core message. So just heads up for you, those 4 Bring a Friend bonus seats are limited to 4 because I'm holding space for 25. I certainly wouldn't want half the room to be at the $97 rate. Energetically, that wouldn't feel good to me or to the other half of the room. And so I've limited the number of Bring a Friend bonus tickets to just 4. So if you are on the fence, I would just invite you to sign up, join me in the room, tune into your soul's core message because it's foundational. Once you really line up with that soul's core message, your signal to your soul clients will be that much more clear and powerful. And you start to experience alignments with your divine blueprint, and you start to experience ease and flow. That's what's possible with alignment. So sign up at reneelee.net/retreat. Join me in May in Tarrytown, New York. Get clear on your soul's core message so that you can start getting paid for the transformation that you offer. Get clear, get confident, get attracting your soul clients, and get paid. So again, the Bring a Friend bonus is limited. So if you're thinking about it, jump on and you can bring a friend. And how wonderful is that? Because then you get a friend, someone in your personal life to witness your transformation. It just makes it that much easier when you do go back home, right? To embody the new energy and to support you in your new direction in your business. So the link is above this video. Click on that link to learn more about the agenda, the spirit ceremonies at the beginning and at the end, and all the juicy content that I'll be sharing with you throughout the 2.5 days together. So your soul's core message is in May 12th through the 14th in Tarrytown, New York. I can't wait to meet you live in person if you are so called to work with me. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you guys for being here. I love you. Bye now.